Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things Lego. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
I'm Bob Carney. I build castles out of Lego. I've been doing it since 1986. This is my 187th real castle model. It's called Burg Eltz. It's located in northwest Germany on a minor tributary of the Mosel River. It was begun as a wooden dungeon with a few family huts around it back in the middle of the 12th century, and gradually the dungeon became stone. The family grew, and because the castle is located on a loop of the Elsbach River, there was no way to expand out, so the castle expanded up, and the towers for the three members of the House of Eltz families are now 6, 7, 8, 9 stories tall.
And it makes for a very impressive looking model. So when tackling a large scale castle project like this, what's the planning process like? Where do you start with that?
Well, interestingly enough, I originally designed it about 20 years ago with the idea that I would do the entire castle, which included not only a bit of the river loop, but also the curtain wall and turrets that surround this structure. And when I decided to build it end of last year for Brickworld 2024, I realized that the scale was too small for Lego's minifigures, and I trashed my plans, got out all the calendar pictures, and started from scratch building just the inner castle, bigger than originally planned, but the minifigures are delighted to be able to live in it.
Fantastic. So if you want to kind of take us through the main sort of sections of the castle and some of the architectural elements here?
Sure. The House of Eltz consisted of three families, the Rodendorfs, the Rubinachs, and the Kemeniches, and each of the tall structures around the small courtyard and connecting to the dungeon are the homes of those three versions of the Eltz family. And in addition to that, on the side over to our right is the stable, and then near the entrance to the castle on the other end, there are two buildings where the goldsmith and the other craftsmen lived. And the castle surrounded by woods, so I didn't have to worry too much about landscaping other than that. The castle was built in 17 sections. 12 of them are ground level sections, and then there are 5 towers, the gatehouse tower, the 3 family homes, and the dungeon.
Fantastic. As we take a closer look here at some of these elements like the crisscross kind of red beams there, what are some of the pieces you find work well for that? How do you incorporate that into the build?
Well, of course, it's important to try to use as much Lego as possible, but when we get into verticals and diagonals, 1/8-inch wide red architect's tape comes in very handy with these German castles. And the same problem existed with the windows and the red shutters. A few of the windows actually have Lego shutter bricks at the edges of the windows, but a whole lot of them are stuck on with double stick tape. And they survived the 180-mile trip up from Decatur to Schaumburg.
One of the unique elements here is you kind of start at ground level and then slope up gradually to the entrance. So how do you sort of plan that out and get the right height configurations to make sure it's all going to match up at the end?
It's kind of a hit and miss prospect, but that said, since I've done 187 castles at this point, I do have a certain amount of experience that comes in very, very handy to not having to tear the whole thing down and start over.
Absolutely. What are the main building wall elements in here? What bricks and types of pieces do you find work well to kind of get these larger structures up?
Well, fortunately, with all of my castle experience and not keeping them up, I had plenty of tan and light gray Lego, having started collecting that more than 40 years ago. But I did have to buy a couple $1,000s worth of dark tan Lego to build the two houses that are darker than the others.
Yeah. The mix of colors works very well here, and it's a very imposing structure. How big is this whole thing, and do you know how many pieces are in it?
The size of it is about 8 by 5 feet, and I'm estimating 80,000 pieces. Although I will be counting it after I take it home at the end of Brick World, and then I'll know for sure, and I'll post it on my website.
Another thing that can be really tricky with structures like this is the roof portions, because you got some interesting angles here. You've got to be able to capture all that. So how does that come together for you? What have you learned doing that over the years?
Well, I do like using Lego's roof pieces, I have to say. There are plenty, as you've explained, I'm sure, many times over the years, wonderful roofs done in different fashions, but I really like Lego's 45, 65, and 75 degree roofs. I think they're real classy, so I use them whenever I can.
And you mentioned some of these buildings out front here, so
yeah.
Are there interiors in any of these, or how did that kind of incorporate into the larger build?
I do interiors occasionally in my castles, but this one was so large and complicated that I thought there was just no way it was going to be easy to do any interiors. And the other note is I really don't have any pictures of the interiors, so I would have had to make that up, and I don't like making things up.
And you can see some of the inspiration and photos that you have here. Is this the type of thing you were working off of as you put the build together?
Exactly. This castle is probably third in the world after Eileen Donen and Neuschwanstein for showing up on the annual castle calendars. Even though the Napoleon's army couldn't find it in the late 18th century, and the Allies couldn't find it at the end of World War II to destroy it, luckily for the castle. But it's otherwise just been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're bringing a build of this size to Brick World Chicago, what is the process like for that, and then how long did this take you to get set up here?
Actually, it came together pretty quickly. We rented a advertisement U-Haul cargo van and managed to one way or another fit all 17 sections into the cargo space. Drove carefully through Illinois' slightly shaky roads, and managed to get here with nary a scratch. And a friend here at Brick World was kind enough to loan us his cart, and we got the pieces in quickly, and the tables are pretty level, and it all came together really well.
And as you mentioned, you've built a tremendous amount of Lego castles over decades now. Do you post those builds online? If people want to see more of your work, where can they find that?
Yeah, so the website is www.carneycastle.com. Carney Castle is one 12-letter lowercase word. And the castles are all categorized by what country they are located in. And I would love to have anybody visit who would like to see some more castles.
That's fantastic. What do you find the public reaction is like when you display a build like this that's, based on a real life castle? You have people saying, "Oh, I've been there." What are the different reactions like when people see this?
And with a castle like I brought 8 years ago, Neuschwanstein, people were often coming up and say, I've been there. With this castle, I've met 4 people so far who've been there. Most of the rest of them say, I've been to Germany, but I didn't see this castle. And that's a tribute to its remoteness.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep up the great work. This is a fantastic build, and it's been wonderful to see your work here at Brick World over the years, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much.